Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome in new edition of the Sunday Sideline Report here on the Sports Insanity Network YouTube channel. Yeah,
Now everybody knows how I feel.
yeah, but yours is more of a memory lapse issue due to age. That was just something causing you to not speak. Yeah, the old ops guy, Danny Boy Reginald, Mike, if you're with you, gentlemen. Good morning. How are you?
Sun is out. It's Sunday football. I got to watch it with the puppy, and I can go to my refrigerator and pause. I love it.
And you got nothing to worry about for another 24 hours.
24 plus hours, yeah.
Adrian just gave me some fantasy points, so I'll take
and,
that.
and Dan's got nothing to worry about. His team's already played. We'll get into that
Yeah,
in a few minutes. But
yeah. I just wish this would be more like a stress-free Sunday following a win, but not the case. So,
uh, I, listen, I get it. I understand completely. But as Dan mentioned, we do have a game going on right now in Madrid between the Washington Commanders and the Miami Dolphins. That is 3-3 after the first quarter. And the Dolphins are driving. They are in Washington territory. We will update you as we go along. But we did have some big news this week. Some would say we had some giant news this week. And that would be from the New York Giants, who earlier this week fired head coach Brian Daboll after, I'm just going to say it, an inexcusable loss to the Chicago Bears after being up 10 in the fourth quarter. It was the fourth time this season the Giants have lost a game this year where they've led by 10 plus points. Also, Jackson Dart got concussed, which was at the fault of Brian Daboll. Also, because Jackson Dart needs to learn how to slide, but that's a whole nother conversation. But Brian Daboll out in New York, and Dan, I don't think anybody's really that surprised.
no, look, ultimately, it was years of constant losing, constant coaching changes, and just straight up incompetence. And I'm shocked that Dable stayed. Sorry, Dable left, but Joe Shane stayed. Like that doesn't really make sense to me. Like if you're gonna blow up the coach, blow up the GM as well, you might as well just start new. Um, yeah, but Dable being gone is not shocking. Look, I'm sure he's a great coordinator. He'll probably be a coordinator for the rest of his career. But, you know, the avenues he took this season to try to keep his job, which were very obvious, is it was tough it was tough to watch. It was tough to swallow. And look, the bottom line is this. While he did a great job with Jackson Dart, I will say that. The losing was getting pretty annoying, and then on top of that, you knew that with this horrible defense and the horrible defensive coordinator, he was not going to get another defensive coordinator. He was not going to get a chance to do that. And also the fact that even though Jackson Dart was doing great, that the Giant offense still had some issues and still couldn't close out games, mostly because of play calling. Um, there was just a lot of different concerns, and it was the right move to make. And the big thing was the defense. It's how his defensive game plan was put out there. Shane Bowen, who's obviously a horrible defensive coordinator. Um, Look, the regime never really took off because they kept putting Band-Aid after Band-Aid after Band-Aid after Band-Aid on this squad instead of trying to rebuild from the get-go. They committed to Daniel Jones, didn't work out, and look, they're paying the price for it.
In more ways than one,
Mm,
because of how well Daniel Jones has played in Indianapolis so far this year.
yeah. Yeah, old ops guy, it was not shocking, you know.
Now, I made this call from the beginning of the year that Dable was on my list of targets to lose his job by the trade deadline. Nothing. Brian Dable's not a head coach, and Dan hit it perfectly. He's a coordinator. He'll fall in line somewhere where he'll have a chance to redeem himself, as we've seen, like Dan said, players who have had their chance to redeem, such as Daniel Jones with the Indianapolis Colts. Um, to answer Dan's question, why Joe Shane was not fired yet is you don't fire both your coach and your general manager midway through the season. You need
What's
them
the
there
point?
till the end of the season to
What
make sure structure, and then the moment it's over at the end of the season, they part ways. So it looks like a mutual departure, and he can save face and go somewhere else.
But they said that he was going to be part of the coaching search.
I, I
That's
believe
just sorry, Mike. Go ahead.
I believe I read that has to do with John Mara dealing with his illness.
But if that's the case, put Steve Tisch involved in it. Put your son.
Oh,
Uh,
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just
Oh,
telling
I
you.
don't
His son
disagree
was a
with that
scout,
either.
or was it his nephew? I forget. Who's a scout?
It
One of
was
the
his
top
father's
scouts, like
brother's
that.
sister's former roommate. That's what it is.
You know,
Um,
like
no.
don't obviously if you don't want to if you're since you're battling cancer, if you don't want to look for a head coach, first things first, why would you look for a head coach if you know you're sick? But I get why he did it. But if you're gonna do that, put the top people within your organization that's not Joe Shane involved in it, in the GM and um head coach search. Don't put Joe Shane
My
with abysmal. Look at the lineup. They're terrible.
I'm not disagreeing in one point you're saying. I am just talking about the business ethics that go along with it. They're saying he's going to be involved. This is all for him to save face. So at the end of the year, when he leaves, he's still going to have that positiveness that for other clubs. You fire him now, it's going to ruin his chances going anywhere.
Oh,
So
boo-hoo.
no, I don't care, boo, but I'm sure this was structured in his contract that yes, if he was going to be fired, he finishes out the season. I'm telling you, business ethics and contracts, coaches don't get that.
No.
General managers do. I'm not saying it's right, but that's the answer.
But it makes no sense because what's the point? If you're gonna if you know he's gonna be gone anyway, like I care about contract and business ethics, like it's over.
They need to
It's over.
they need to keep the they need to keep the news out of it. Yes, he'll be involved. Next, that keeps the questions from coming
Look,
up
it's
total.
not going to make the Giants less incompetent than what they already are.
I was about to say I don't think they can get any more incompetent.
Like it's over. They're done. It doesn't make any sense. It's the same stupid mistake that the Jets made a few years ago when they had McCagnon do a head coaching search, draft, and then they fired him in the summer. And then they brought in Joe Douglas. So it makes zero sense. If you're gonna pull the plug. Pull the plug now. Find your new regime, head coach, GM, however the heck you want to do it. Again, I don't care how you do it. And then move forward from there. Let this new regime, new head coach, new GM, let them be a part of the future. Let them be part of the draft. Because the way it looks like it seems like Joe Gian's going to get another crack at it, and his draft picks haven't hit.
I don't think he'll get another crack.
Then I don't understand what the Giants are waiting for.
I
I
don't
see what you're
either. The
saying, Mark.
Giants are on crack just to keep him, but that's
Yeah,
another story for another time.
Well,
yeah.
they could
I
also
get
be on
what
crack
I
because
get.
Shane Bowen is also still employed.
Yeah, it makes no
That
sense.
which is the
See,
one I just don't get.
a coach makes sense. Like if you put in Mike Kafka, okay, cool, makes sense. Look, he may not be like a real coach or whatever, but he at least he'll hold down the fort, sort of like what Jeff Ulbrich did last season with the Jets. Again,
Right.
not necessarily the best decision, but it was something to hold the fort. We knew that the Jets were going to be a disaster. And same thing here. We know the Giants are going to be a disaster. Um,
And I think the other thing is, I think for Dable, that first year was so encouraging
yeah.
because they had Daniel Jones, and he had that year where he only threw 3 picks, and then they commit to him, and he all goes down from there. And then this year it was kind of like, okay, maybe they get a rejuvenated Russell Wilson to start the year, and eventually we're going to do the Eli Kurt Warner thing and transition to the young guy. But Russell Wilson, it just didn't work. And if you go back and you watch some of these games, like Mark, no offense, they should win that Cowboy game.
Oh, without question.
They should have won that game. You can't lose that game. But to blow 4 10-point leads in the fourth quarter, all on the road, that's a sign of a couple of things. One, you can't close anything out.
Right.
But 2, and more importantly, that's on coaching. And a desire and a want to. But I just don't see. There's no reason the Giants, with a pass rush that includes Brian Burns, Dexter Lawrence, Abdul Carter, Kayvon Thibodeau, they should not be in the bottom portion of the league when it comes to total defense.
One thing to put onto that, Mike, is that the Giants' offense is not on the field long enough, so that defense is dead tired come fourth quarter.
But you know what? And that's fine. But who's an offensive guy? Brian Dable. And look, I get it. Malik Neighbors went down. He's done for the year. I understand that Cam Scattaboo got hurt. But you drafted guys like Wan'Dale Robinson and Jalen Hyatt. You have to have some plan to use these guys. Jalen Hyatt spends more time at the Hyatt Hotel than he does on the field. Wan'Dale Robinson actually has had a pretty decent year. Darius Slayton at times makes plays. They're getting production out of the tight end. The offensive line has sucked since the Eli Manning days are gone. That's how bad the offensive line is. And they've put, to Dan's point, Band-Aids. There hasn't been a long-term fix, although Jackson Dart looks the part right now.
Jackson Dart is the future QB for the Giants going forward.
Now you got to surround him with good weapons and revamp the offensive line, and then you go from there. But we'll see what happens. But one name we know who will not be the New York Giants head coach will be Bill Belichick, who put out a statement the other night saying he is staying at North Carolina and that he was on to Wake Forest, which was not a good thing since Wake Forest beat the snot out of North Carolina yesterday. So, do you guys have any favorite for who should be the Giant head coach next year?
My number one is now gone because I was dead set on Belichick coming to New York. So no, I'd have to relook at who's going to be available and who would fit that team best. So I do not have a answer at this second.
I would put like a John Gruden. Like, why not? You know, like he's been out of the league for a little bit, right? But he's still very much into the football. You watch all of his Barstool videos, it's pretty darn good, and he's pretty knowledgeable. I just think you get a Super Bowl winning head coach. You bring that mentality back, that grit back into the locker room. You know, I would even be bold and be like, "Hey, look, you're the head honcho. You're the big time coach. You're also the big time executive, and you run your football operations the way you want. Obviously, in conjunction with some of the Maras, because I know some of the Maras have some positions there. But you're the head honcho. I think it'd be perfect for the Giants, John Gruden. Um, and look, you want championships, right? Well, there's your championship coach. Screw the scandal. It's over. It was 4 years ago. Get him in. See what he can do for this franchise. And unlike Dable, he'll put and look again, Jackson Dart has been developed tremendously so far. But you not only continue to develop him, he will make him better, and he will always keep him in check. Because part of the problem with Dable was that he allowed Jackson Dart to go rogue at times with his play. And as you see, that his style of play led to his concussion. And he also would not put Jackson Dart back in after he got dinged in the head. And I don't want to hear any nonsense from Dable that he didn't know that he got dinged in the head. Come on, everyone and their mom saw it.
Oh yeah,
Sure.
for Dart, this to me, you're in week 9. Sorry, apologize. Not in week 9. Do you shut him down?
No,
You're out of the playoff contention. Do you shut him down and just let this kid heal?
no, he's got to. If he's healthy, he's got to play.
Okay.
You got to have him learn.
Yeah. For right now, obviously he's under concussion protocol, so you can't play. Um, but if he ever does get a little healthy, I don't want to see Jameis out there. Like,
And
really?
James plays today.
Like, I don't want to see Jameis out there for the rest of the season. Like, like, no, like, yeah. Look, Jameis obviously this week, and then after that,
As long as he clears protocol.
yeah, I guess Jameis until he clears protocol is the best way to go about it.
Yeah, because I don't need to see Russell Wilson play ever again.
Oh, the
No offense to
Commanders.
Russell Wilson, but
Jesus.
he's done.
Oh yeah, look, it was a mistake signing Russ. And I'm willing to acknowledge that too because I actually thought Russ would be great for the Giants.
Oh, I did too. I thought it was thought be smooth.
Yeah, not necessarily because he was going to be such a great quarterback, but he holds the fort
Yeah.
while they develop the quarterback.
But Dan, I do want to have something you said because you brought up Gruden, and I thought that was a really good name. But the key is experienced head coach.
Mhm.
And that's where I think they have to go.
Yeah.
Because if you look at the last three hires for the Giants, Ben McAdoo was not a coach. Joe Judge had
No.
no experience. And then Dable had no experience.
Yeah.
So,
And then even before that, Pat Shermer. Like,
oh, you know what? I forgot about Pat Shermer
why? Why?
because I forgot about him. Well, you want me to tell you?
Uh,
You know? No.
I
I mean,
actually forgot about Shermer. He would not
no. I
be a bad fit
mean,
in New York.
Since Tom Coughlin, they've had nobody with experience.
and look, I know he wasn't a part of the he wasn't fully into the search for Coughlin, but that's a Wellington Mara hire. Since John took over, it all of his coaches have been miss after miss after miss.
Yeah. And they got to nail this one. So Gruden's a name I like. Mike McCarthy is a name
Mhm.
I happen to like.
Sure. Sure.
You know, I know there's people out there speculating on either Tomlin or John Harbaugh. You have to wait and see what goes on with those two guys. But yeah, the Giants need a coach with experience. So Dable becomes the second head coach moved on from this season. All right. The other team that plays at MetLife Stadium has already played this week. The Jets went into New England, and well, they didn't win. 27-14 the score in favor of the New England Patriots. Drake May 25 of 34, 281 yards and a touchdown. Travion Henderson 19 carries, 62 yards and two touchdowns. Stephon Diggs 9 catches for 105 yards. For the Jets, Justin Fields 15 of 26, 116 yards and a touchdown. He added 67 on the ground with a touchdown. And John Mechie, 3 catches, 45 yards, and his first touchdown as a New York Jet. The Jets fall to 2-8, while the Patriots, first place in the AFC East, go to 9-2. And Dan, have at it with your team.
We didn't get embarrassed. We did not get embarrassed. It was great. It was awesome to watch. No, look, Justin Fields played another horrible game. But look, I'm not mad. I'm not disappointed either. I know some Jet fans, oh, I'm not mad. I'm disappointed. Disappointed in what? You know, like what are you mad at either? Like what do you what this is a game you expected to lose. Do you honestly think that the Jets are going to beat the Patriots? Patriots are light years ahead of you in a rebuild. Look, they fired Gerard Mayo, bring in Vrabel, who brings in an experienced coaching staff that could have went to the Super Bowl if they didn't gum it up with Tannehill and everybody. You know, like yeah, and of course Drake May is just a beast, man. By the way, this Trey Anderson dude, I mean, this guy is an absolute running back killer out there, killer. He's gonna be great for years to come. But yeah, like the Jets don't have enough talent. They don't. They obviously don't have the experience coaching on their side. Glenn learning on the job. Like this is what you pretty much expect from a year one coach. The only difference is that usually year one coaches would have maybe 3 wins at this time, maybe 4 wins at this time. Aaron Glenn has 2. So that's what really makes it hard and stuff. But yeah, I'm not too concerned about this because this is basically what I expected. The Patriots were nearly 2 touchdown favorites. Okay, well they won by nearly 2 touchdowns. So about what I expected. I'll show positives instead of being on Debbie Downer. I thought that the first drive of the game, the Jets decided to receive the ball instead of defer, and they drove down the field for a touchdown. That's a positive. I've never seen the Jets do that. I saw John Mechie had a good few receiving yards, and of course he had the touchdown. That was cool to watch. Um, the offensive line gave Justin Fields plenty of protection, which is a massive positive. We need that for the future. Um, Obviously, player personnel wise, we'll talk about that during the offseason. And then Brees Hall looks great. I wish the Jets would give the ball to him more. Tanner Angstrand actually has grown into a very smart offensive coordinator. I'm really liking some of the play calls that he has. Um, he just needs more talent. And that's all it comes down to. It's more talent, and the coaching staff needs more experience. Um, Defensive side of the ball obviously wasn't great. I think we need to get rid of Steve Wilkes, good coordinator. We tried with him, and I think it's necessary to move on from him. Or at the very least, Aaron Glenn takes over the play calling for the defensive side. Not embarrassing. I'm not disappointed. I'm not mad. But obviously the Jets are 2-8, and the season's already a disaster, so it's just tough. It is tough to watch.
Old ops guy.
I think Dan covered the New York Jets side of it. I'm just gonna tune in a little bit too on the New England side. This reminds me of obviously the first year Mac Jones had, how well they played. Not comparing Drake May to Mac Jones in any way because you can't. In this case, Drake May is running a smooth, balanced offense between Henderson, who's, not averaging you 100 yards a game, but is being productive with a couple of touchdowns a game, and 60 yards on, 19 carries. That's 3 yards a carry. It's not something to ooh and ah about. But when this guy gets into open field, he's got wheels. The defense, always known New England to be a very good defensive team, and look who the coach is. It's enough said. So this was, yeah, a classic AFC East showdown in which the better team won. I'm not taking a real knock at the Jets here, but the better team came out and won, and they're gonna keep doing it as long as teams can't figure them out. And right now, it's not the fact that they're playing sneaky foot, they're playing unpredictable football. And that's a big key.
Yeah.
The most important thing the Patriots did this offseason. You talk about the spending of money, Stephon Diggs, whoever on the money on defense. Let's bring back Josh McDaniels. And having Josh McDaniels and Drake May, it's worked really well.
Yeah.
Then you get into the Diggs, and bringing back Hunter Henry has really worked, been good for him. May's been awesome. Defense does its job, as Vrabel likes to say. I have a problem with the Jets, though, Dan. You went all positive. I'm going to be the negative guy, and I'm not even a Jet fan.
Yeah. Well, I wonder why he's gonna be negative, but go ahead.
But I'm negative because all I heard from people about Robert Saleh is it's the same things over and over again. It's the penalties. It's this. It's that. This team still commits a bunch of penalties.
Yeah, and obviously those things we do have to clean up. And those people may not even be on the team next year. I mean,
Right.
let's be
You have to
real.
wait and see, but they still commit penalties. Justin Fields Look, I thought Justin Fields at the beginning of the game was spectacular. I thought that, like you said, that opening drive, they ran the ball down the gullet of the New England defense. And then they kind of go away from it. And it's kind of, you just had the successful drive. Why are you going away?
Yeah, and this is where I will get on the coaching staff because they're not experienced enough to know don't allow teams to change your game plan just because they get one stop. You know,
Right. Fields had some good throws. He had some bad throws. The throw down the sideline, Adonai Mitchell, you got to catch that ball, brother.
yeah,
You got to catch
Mhm.
that football.
I think he had like 3 drops too.
Right. And this is the thing, because you brought it up. The Jets aren't talented enough to overcome mistakes like that. It can't happen. So do yourself a favor with the money you get in your paycheck next week. Buy yourself a set of hands that can grab the football, brother.
Yeah. Um,
And then this coach. And I know Aaron Glenn is a first year guy. I don't need you attacking a reporter earlier in the week and then 2 days later kind of retracting what you did.
and I don't really mind that. I'm not
That
really.
shit can work if you're winning. You're 2-8. Just tell us what's going on with Garrett Wilson. That's all we want to know.
Well, my only counter is I think that I just don't care too much about that. Like I just care about the winning. I don't care what he says to the media.
No, I get it.
For first thing
And
first, the Jet media, they all want them to lose because they know that their content is better when the Jets are losing than when they're winning. So the media is never on the Jet side. This could happen to any coach. Like it's a
shout out Manish Manetta.
yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
So I'm not
That's a blast from the past.
yeah, so I'm not I honestly couldn't give a rat's ass about the Jet beat reporters. Like they're all a-holes. They're all good reporters, don't get me wrong, but they know what their agenda is. And their agenda from the get-go is always to rip the Jets apart because that's what they're used to. They're not used to winning. They're not used to this. So, you know, or what the Jets are trying to be. They're not that yet. The
Mhm.
Jets are not that yet. But you get my point.
Yes, they do. So
So, yeah, so I honestly don't care. I think Aaron Glenn is, first of all, I thought he was being sarcastic there with the Rich Cimini comment. And two, I also think that, um, um, it just look, was it necessary to pick fights with media? No, but it's also not like that serious.
next week, the Patriots will go to Cincinnati, play the Bengals in the Corey Dillon Bowl, while the Jets go to Baltimore and play the Ravens in the Rex Ryan, Bart Scott, CJ Mosley Bowl.
Funny.
So we had some other quarterback. We had quarterback news this week. One, Brock Purdy will return for the Niners this week against the Cardinals. And then someone play the theme to Rocky 3.
I have the Tiger.
Because you know who was back at practice for the Cincinnati Bengals this week? One Joseph, I don't know his middle name, Burrow. And the Bengals have opened up the 21-day window on Joe Burrow, meaning he could come back in 3 weeks or he's shut down.
Joseph Lee Burrow.
Joseph Lee Burrow. And we can thank one person, one group for this to be happening. Thank you, Mike Tomlin and the Pittsburgh Steelers, for allowing the window of Joe Burrow to be open because you should have buried the Bengals when you had a chance. So Burrow back at practice. Brock Purdy will return this week as well for the Niners. And let's start with that game in Pittsburgh on games to discuss. Because the Bengals, Mark, if they win, they would have swept the Pittsburgh Steelers this season.
Yep, getting the news that Joe Burrow has been practicing, and now that window is open. That's got to give the Bengals, a good sign of hope. Here's the question, though: is it a little too late? If, let's say, they drop the next two, which is a definite possibility, that would put them at 3-8. Is it worth risking him, knowing that the odds of making a playoff run are done? That's where I'm at with Joe Burrow.
I think that's why the result of this game is so important. You win this game, you have the tiebreaker over Pittsburgh, and B, all of a sudden it gives that team hope. Like, hey, we could get Joe back in a week or two, and they haven't played Baltimore yet.
No.
So all of a sudden, that division is open for the Cincinnati Bengals, although their defense will just stop them from winning. But that's a whole nother. I think if you're the Bengals, by the way, the Bengals aren't even the team I'm concerned about in this game. I'm concerned about Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
They're the team that went all in for the 42-year-old quarterback. And they can't beat anybody good.
Nope.
I mean, the Chargers beat the snot out of them last week. I mean, and they allowed both Cincinnati and Baltimore to hang around. It's not a good thing if you're the. This is. I hate saying this because I know you're a first place team. This is a must-win game for the Pittsburgh Steelers. This is must-win.
It is. Like you said, Mike, if Cincinnati and old man Flacco decide, pull it off, then yes, there is hope. 1 second before we continue, Eric Ford has a comment going back to the Jets. Fire everybody all the way down to the pretzel guys who hand out pretzels at the game. Just fire everyone. Back to where we are at.
Oh, Eric Ford, we love you. It's okay, man.
Yes,
Look,
we do.
have faith,
Future
buddy.
president.
Have faith.
Future president.
Yes, absolutely. He's the man of the people.
I don't think Aaron Rodgers. I mean, look, he's thrown for 1,800 yards. He's got 18 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. Is this the Aaron Rodgers we all know and love? No. He can't get out of the pocket. He can't move. This Cincinnati Bengal defense is licking their chops today. They're gonna get in there and they're gonna hit them. So I'm taking Cincinnati all the way on this game.
And if you're Cincinnati in the secondary, triple team DK Metcalf and have someone else beat you. Because I'm going to dare Calvin Austin, Roman Wilson. If they beat me, tip your cap. I ain't letting DK Metcalf beat me.
Yeah. The Mark nailed it. Look, obviously the Bengals have nothing to lose. So if they go out and win, and they win this week, and they win next week, or whenever they play next, they have a real good shot in 2 weeks, knowing that Burrow could actually be back. Oh crap. Like they're within the thick of things, just like Baltimore is. And Pittsburgh is sweating. By the way, I just love the vindication that I'm getting right now from the from this Pittsburgh team, man. The fact that they're the ones sweating out with Rodgers. Look, everyone said they were going to make the playoffs with Rodgers, even me. I'll say I'll admit it too. I thought they would make the playoffs too. It was a lock. The Jets are stupid for getting rid of him, and the Steelers they're just gonna absolutely kill it. Well, it hasn't worked out that way for the Steelers.
Thanksgiving night,
Hmm.
Bengals Ravens.
Yeah, well, that's gonna be a huge one.
That's a huge game.
Yeah, depending on the
So
situation.
as you're relaxing after your turkey dinner,
Yeah.
And
Um.
after a Cowboys win.
Yeah.
go Chiefs.
They're still the early window, right, Mark?
Yeah, they're
No,
they're the
they're
4 o'clock,
Oh,
4:30 game.
the four. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Um.
Detroit usually has the 1 o'clock
Detroit
game.
gets the early game.
Okay. Um. But yeah, no, I think with the Bengals, they're in an interesting spot because look, if they lose, they're not catching anybody. But if they win, they're 4-6, like right there. Like it's there
Yeah.
for the taking. It's an interesting spot for them. I really think they're in a really tight one. And
Yeah.
um let's go, man. Like I want Aaron Rodgers to be miserable. You have no idea. He made my life miserable. I want to make his life miserable.
Fair enough. So let's see what goes down in Pittsburgh. We've also got the Los Angeles Chargers of San Diego, who have won 3 in a row. They're going to Jacksonville to play the Jags, who are coming off a heartbreaker last week against the Texans. And Mark, once again, the storyline of it, Trevor Lawrence just couldn't get the job done.
And again, I've been one of Trevor Lawrence's biggest advocates, and every year he keeps letting me down. He had so much talent when entering this league. They've given him protection. They've given him weapons from Etienne to Brian Thomas Jr. Unfortunate what happened to Travis Hunter. That's another story for another time. It's time to, unfortunate. I mean, it's hard to say when you got a caliber talent like Lawrence, but it's time for the Jacksonville Jaguars to move on.
He's already on his 4th head coach. So, yeah. People forget about that 1 year of Urban Meyer. I'm sorry, his
Right.
3rd head coach. So it was Urban Peterson, now Lemco. But Dan, on the other side, the Chargers, they're playing really well.
Yeah, the Chargers, they're really starting to mold themselves in as one of the best teams in the AFC. And um, I like the play out of Herbert. I love the coaching that comes from Harbaugh and company. Like I really do think that they have really built themselves a team that is filled with weapons. They play pretty good defense as well. Like I'm liking what I'm seeing out of this team. They're more cohesive, and look, I don't know what this will mean come January, but I can definitely see the Chargers doing something in the playoffs. If obviously they have to get there first, but I think they will. And they're lucky they're in a weak AFC. I'll tell you that much. But I don't want to say that the AFC is weak. That's why they're good. Like I don't think that's fair. I think the Chargers are one of the best teams in football, and they deserve to get their flowers. They played against really good teams. It's either been competitive or they've actually kicked their ass. So just wanted to throw that out there.
And their Achilles heels, that offensive line, which will now be down Joe Alt for, I believe, the
Yeah.
rest of the season. So,
Yeah,
Yes, he's done for the year.
all right, update on the Madrid game. Commanders Dolphins are tied at 6.
It should be it should be 9-6 Commanders.
So we know how much fun both teams are having.
God.
Oh yeah.
A lot of toilet bowls this year.
A lot of good stuff. So we got the Chargers. Mark, we got an interconference showdown in Buffalo. The Bucks and the Bills.
This is a game that means a lot to the Buffalo Bills after the embarrassment of losing to the Dolphins last week. Josh Allen needs to come out and take this team and dominate. However, this is not going up against the Tennessee Titans, the Dallas Cowboys, or the New York Jets. This is going up against a defense that actually can play. Their offense isn't too shabby either. But if Buffalo fans want to have something to believe in and think about getting to that AFC Championship game, which they clearly should, but they need to come out and have a statement win today.
Do it without the young receiver Keon Coleman, who looks like he's going to be a healthy scratch. So, and Dan, for the Bucks, Baker Mayfield's kind of gone down in play, but that's got to be due to the injuries, right?
Yeah, the unfortunately the injury bug just like it hits around this time of year, like you'll start to really feel it. The Bucks are starting to feel it. I do feel bad for Tampa Bay because I think they've started off very well. Obviously, Baker is playing like MVP style. He hasn't played like that of late. And again, while totally not all his fault, one thing that I will get on Baker is, knowing that you don't have your big time weapons, um, and knowing that there are certain parts of your team that are being depleted, and it's going to be pretty tough. Like, how do you play game manager? I really haven't really seen that from Baker yet this season. Like I want him to play more game manager role than, quarterback role that's explosive. Like we know you got the stuff, we know you got the arm talent, but how do you manage the game knowing that you don't have your guys? That's something that I'm going to get on him about. That's something I'm going to get on Todd Bowles about. And um, look, it's not a complete disaster. I think the Bucks will be fine, moving forward, but it's something that I question a little bit from them.
And if they're going to make a run, they're going to need Bucky Irving, Chris Godwin,
Yeah.
and hopefully Mike
Yes.
Evans.
Mm.
So, but huge game. Someone's going to go to 6-4.
Yeah.
That one. Then we got in the NFC North, we got the Bears and the Vikings. The Bears have been rolling.
Mm. Kudos to
Chicago pull. Sorry, go ahead, Dan.
No, I'm so sorry, Mark. I feel horrible. Ben Johnson's been tremendous, dude. Like the way him and Caleb and all those the offense is clicking a bit. I do wish the games wouldn't be as up and down. Like I want them to get into a good rhythm. They shouldn't have to come back down from 10 against the Giants. Like they should be able to kick teams' asses like the Giants. That's my only big thing. But other than that, I like the progress. I like what's going on in Chicago, Mark.
Chicago is renewed. Let's put it that way. My only problem is I know Caleb Williams has done a great job. Stop with the showing off after you score. Stop showing off after every big play you do. Go out and play this game. You're capable of playing in the NFL. We know that. We know why you were picked number 1 overall. Forget the glim. Forget the bling. Forget about doing the dance. Get to the line and keep this offense rolling. You got good receivers, you got good running backs, and you got a good line. Use it. As to coming back and beating the Giants, do I put it all on Williams? No, it's a team effort. However, he's starting to act like a captain. He's just got to get rid of that
He's got to
immaturity a little
mature.
bit. Yeah, get rid of that immaturity a little bit.
And the other side of the ball, for Minnesota, this is a massive game for JJ McCarthy. Did not play well last week against the Ravens. They need him to play well today. This is not a great Bear defense. It's a very good Bear defense. But you got Addison, you got Justin Jefferson, you got TJ Hawkinson. And then you got Aaron Jones in the backfield. This is a big game for JJ McCarthy, especially after what Sam Darnold did last year for this Viking team. The Vikings missing the playoffs, there'd be a lot of conversation this offseason if they miss.
Mm.
All right. Other big divisional games. We got the Seahawks and the Rams for first place in the NFC West. This might be the most fun game of the day.
Yeah. Definitely a good matchup here. You know, these teams, no matter what, if they were both 0-7, they would play a stellar game against each other. It's hard to say one or the other, but I think the hard question is what type of Sam Darnold has cleared protocol? I did not see that come up yet. If he's cleared protocol and can play, my curiosity is how efficient he's gonna be. I think that is your difference maker in this game today. Is if they are without Sam Darnold because he didn't clear
I've
protocol.
heard nothing on Darnold, so I think he's good.
Okay, so if you have Sam Darnold in, yeah, that is, you know, what you need, especially with Ninjigba and everything the way they've been doing. But I don't know after that hit he took last week how weary he might be of taking another hit.
Man, just think about the receiving talent in this game.
Mm-hmm.
Jackson Smith and Jigba, Cooper Kupp, Rashid Shaheed on Seattle. Oh, then Puka Nakua and Devontae Adams.
Yeah.
For the Rams, like Stafford's playing at an MVP level. The Seahawk defense has been awesome all year.
Yeah.
The chess match between Mike McDonald and Sean McVay. It's gonna be chef's kiss.
Yeah. I'm looking to see whether the younger Seahawks guys are going to compete well with the much more experienced Rams guys. Like and they're all doing great. Like like you know, you can nitpick all you want with these teams. Like both teams have good defenses. Both teams are good on the offensive side as well. And ultimately, what you're going to get is just a massive powerhouse of two division rivals. And it's going to be awesome to watch. I do think that the Rams kind of trump the Seahawks a little bit. But again, it's no disrespect to Seattle. I just think that the Rams right now have everything on their side. But it's going to be a tremendous game. It would not shock me if any of these teams go on to win today.
Mm-hmm. And then another division game, we get the Chiefs and the Broncos.
Mm-hmm.
Denver is extremely banged up, as it was announced yesterday. They will be down J.K. Dobbins as well.
Mm-hmm.
And he may miss the rest of the year with a foot injury. So
He is now out for the season. RJ Harvey will be taking over as the number one back.
And just added to the list, Pat Surtain, Alex Singleton, who thankfully is okay after what was discovered, uh, amongst the other Broncos who will miss this game. This is a prime opportunity for Andy Reid off the bye to do their thing.
Absolutely. Look, the Denver Broncos have had a hell of a season. They're banged up, as Mike just pointed out. Um, lose Can they afford to lose today and keep going? Yes. However, can they afford to say, okay, let's lose to the Chiefs? No. This is a division rival, and this is the team you're going to need to have the record against to move on into the playoffs or even have to avoid them in the playoffs. So it's going to be a hard fought game for Denver, but I see, like Mike said, Andy Reid taking advantage of this weakened Denver team and come out and dominate.
And the other part is Denver needs Bo Nix to start on time.
Yeah.
Bo Nix the last few weeks has not been good.
He has seemed disconnected when he's out there.
Yeah. Um, I don't know what is the reason for his slump. It's coming at a weird time. That time where we're in November, the Broncos are chasing a playoff spot. Um, Again, a fairly weak AFC, so the Denver getting in should usually be no problem, but yet the quarterback is holding them back. That's the weird part. That's the part that's just like what do you do about that? It's very interesting. Very interesting spot for them.
And then tonight, Sunday Night Football, we got the Lions and the Eagles. NFC, the top seed in the NFC is on the line. The Lions win, they take over that number one seed. Philly wins, they hold on to it. It's been a brutal week. Mark, we were talking about this before. Brutal week in Philly. There was that win over the Packers. Then A.J. Brown on his Twitch stream calls out the offense. No one's really backed down from it. And now the Lions are coming to town.
Mind you, the Eagles sit atop at the NFC East. I mean, that's not really much to brag about considering what's in there. Um, However, Mike said something. It's like this Eagles team has literally gone from A to B very quickly. Saquon Barkley, I don't care what anyone says, is clearly injured. That hamstring is bothering him, and that's why his production has been low. He's still effective, but he is not the player he was. Jalen Hurts, what his problem is with probably arguably one of the best wide receivers in football, and A.J. Brown, I don't understand what the problem is. But whatever it is, they need to get it over with. Devonta Smith can't do it all. Dallas Goedert can't do it all. Flip it to the Green Bay Packers. A devastating loss last week, but a hard-fought loss. It was Jordan Love's most inefficient game ever, whatever. Now they're going to go up against another high-powered team in the Detroit Lions. This Lions offense is top two in the NFL. From the running game to the passing game to the offensive line. Their weakness is the one thing that can be taken advantage of, and that is a very weak secondary. As long as Jalen Hurts can be accurate in his pass, this game can be closer than it should be. But watch for Detroit to run away with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the Lions may take a step back a little bit. I trust the Eagles' offense to actually look at me saying that to actually get the job done today. I think it'll be close. It'll be competitive. They're not gonna. No team. None of these teams are gonna. They're gonna blow each other out. They're great. They're both good teams. But I think I trust the Eagles more today.
Philly at home. And this game's going to be one in the trenches. Can Detroit's offensive line manhandle the Philly defensive line and vice versa for Philly on offense? This game's going to be one in the trenches. No Sam Laporta for the Lions. That's going to be
Right.
massive.
Big loss.
And he's going to miss, I believe, the next 4. I think they put him on IR.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, AJ Brown shot his mouth off. If I'm Jalen Hurts, the first play from scrimmage tonight is a deep shot to AJ Brown. That's how I'm starting this game off. And we're going to get everybody on the same page. And I just think this is going to be a very fun and exciting game. But I'm with Dan. I kind of like Philly at home as well. All right, Mark. Who will be your fantasy player of the day?
Excuse me. My fantasy player of today goes to Patrick 5 touchdowns Mahomes.
Okay.
Uh, Fantasy player of the day is gonna go to Jalen Hurts. He'll have an explosive day.
I'm going to go off the board. The Houston Texan defense
Okay.
against the Titans. Cam Ward turns the ball over a lot, eats a lot of sacks.
Mm-hmm.
The Texans are starting Davis Mills again.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to
However,
need the defense to show up.
Yeah, they look, they were they did a pretty good job in that second half against Jacksonville. So
Yeah.
be
the
interesting.
Titans need to come out just like they did in Remember the Titans, all in rhythm, doing the singing and the dancing, and get ready for this game.
They need Denzel Washington to become their head coach.
God.
Remember the Titans. Great movie.
Oh, tremendous stuff.
Yeah.
Ooh.
By the way, just a reminder, we are 6-6 in Madrid, third quarter just underway
Yeah.
between the Commanders and the Dolphins.
Come on, Don Amici.
That'll do for the Week 11 edition, Sunday Sideline Report essay and YouTube channel. Live every Sunday, 10 a.m. Joy. Find the podcasts wherever you get your podcasts. Check out the website, the esportsinsanitynetwork.com. Great blogs, vlogs, planes, trains, and automobiles. Follow us on the socials. Facebook, Sports Insanity Network, Twitter, Insanity Real. Dan, Mark, I'm Mike. We'll talk to you all next week. Enjoy the lovely football